And we're back again. It is election day. Hopefully, you did do your elections. That's why, unfortunately, I thought maybe we can get a month of all of us being on here, but unfortunately, it's only going to be 3 weeks in a row. No Paps this time, but he has a good reason. He's voting, and then he's going to have dinner or go out with his parents. So he
Yeah.
has a good reason not to be. So
Actually, really quick, there is the slightest chance he might make a small cameo after all, because he said after he's done eating dinner, whenever that is, he's gonna swim by, pick up his water bottle.
okay,
So there's a slight
there's a
chance we
slight
get him on
chance
the
we get
podcast.
yeah.
I'll just bring the camera down, like, hey, or I'll bring my laptop down. Look what I found.
He's here.
He made it. The pole lines didn't eat him alive.
No. Luckily, I did my voting because I did the vote by mail and I did it early
That's
enough.
what I did. I got
I
mine
did
in
mine
about a
at
week and a half
least,
ago or so.
yeah, I did mine like not no joke, like a month ago,
Yeah.
maybe. At least a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And for the thing that was troubling for me is so my family shifted them. We all mailed them out at the same time.
Oh,
The
okay.
one thing was that they all got emails saying it was delivered, we got it, whatever it
Yep.
counted. I either deleted it or I just never got it. But for some reason, I never got the email. I never got it. It's like, did it not count? I swear to God, if it doesn't count, this is like, no, what, screw it. Because you can do it. You can look up your actual mail-in ballot somewhere. I know you can Google it, just saying just your mail-in ballot, just check that or whatever.
Yeah.
I filled out my information. It's sent. It's delivered. It's counted, but I don't think they're supposed to count. They're not allowed to count until actually today of election day. But it's counted and it works. So I did my civic duty for this year for the election. So no can come after me saying I didn't vote or
There
anyone
you
else
go.
on this podcast for that matter.
There you go.
But speaking
Attaboy,
of the
Whitmer.
podcast, I will say this, and I went on a tear on this about to Jeff right before we got on. He can attest to this. Um, our podcast in general, just the highlights and all that. We've certainly come a lot. This month, the month of November, will be our 8th month. It's weird saying that because it doesn't feel that long, but our 8th month of the Underachievers podcast. That's how old we are. We're still infants. We're not even 1 year old yet. We're still trying to figure it out. We still have our issues here and there, trying to figure out topics or segments or stuff like that.
Yeah, who
A lot
cares?
of
It makes it more fun for us. We
it
do it
makes
on
it
the
more fun
fly.
to
We
us, but
underachieve.
there's
You know the
there's
name.
the reason why I kind of like the last couple we've done, and that's only the last couple. Like, it's not every podcast. I'm like, oh, this is a good one. There's some rough ones in there where we really didn't have that much to talk about, and we just kind of just piled on to the end just to try to get it done and over with. But the last one, in particular, last one we had a little theme overall of Halloween. We had an easy theme for that, but the other ones we didn't really have anything. We may have had a topic here or there that we want to talk about,
Mhm.
but when we went on, we had nothing. But we just came out with we weren't going to talk about Friends versus The Office, but that just
No,
came off naturally, and
yeah. No, I love it. I
that's
love
what
it.
I
And
think
honestly,
is really
that's
evolving, and I think that really
yeah.
shows with us is that it shows our friendship. It shows like that. It's just like we turn it on, and boom, just anything can come out. Just whatever we're thinking of that day. We like to
Yeah.
have some kind of idea of what's going on or what we're
Yeah,
doing.
ideally, we like to have, just like with our hockey podcast, we like to have a good
A little
lineup for
schedule lineup,
certain
whatever you want to
topics and
call it.
everything
Yeah,
to talk about. But from time to time, there's certain things where we just come up with it on the fly, like, hey, here's a random idea. Like,
hmm
we'll literally think of it on the spot. Like, you know what? This could be a
and
great
that's why
topic.
we
Let's bring it
have.
up anyway.
It wasn't even because we've talked about this many times off podcast, just ways to improve the podcast, just segments and everything. I don't even think we talked about just a random Maybe we did random tangent segment that came up. That's another thing that just came up randomly. So whenever we have these random just tangents, random talks, or just random spiels or whatever,
Mm.
we just saw it. There's a random tangent. We just still at the end. It's like there it is. And the reason why I bring this up, and we had this issue again today, because I was trying to think of just stuff to talk about for today, and of course, it would only work if it would only make
I know.
sense And the one topic I want Brian's thoughts on, it's a sports thing, and I want Brian's opinions on this too. We're going to get to it in our next hockey podcast because it does relate to hockey. And believe it or not, it's another list of defensemen, just to give you a little preview for next hockey podcast, a little segment we're going to talk about there. And another one, and the only reason why, there was two reasons why I remembered this. One, if you remember on our last podcast, and if you don't want to go back, or on our Underachievers YouTube page. Yes, I'm plugging our YouTube page. The last video we did where we're talking about worst Halloween parties we've been to.
Yeah.
At the end of it, I talk about the last year in Bloom, or not last year, maybe it was like the year after I graduated, but our good friend Abby was still at Bloom at the time, and I went to Halloween and I had a good time there. I forget if it was that or a different night, but something happened to me that night, and something happened to Brian at one of the happened to a party that Brian was going to go to, or something. There was that Brian talked about. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you off with something happened to me that night 2 years ago.
I think it was at least 2 years ago.
At least 2 years ago. I was very proud of myself of that night.
I remember it. I don't think it was Halloween. I think it was just a random night.
It was a random night, but for some reason it reminded me of the night because I still went out with. Because the reason why is because I went with Abby and her roommates, and the same thing that night. Abby and her roommates went out, so I forget.
Yeah, no, this has definitely happened within the last 2 years because I remember Danny.
I texted you about it. I think she was the only one that wasn't a big fan of what happened. But yeah. I also Brian has not. I don't think I've told maybe I have told the story to Brian, but I want Brian
maybe I don't know.
But I also want Brian here. So unfortunately, if Brian's here next week or whenever we're on again,
or maybe at some point this podcast again, there is a rare chance that he could make a very short cameo. He's
you got me there.
He's coming by later at some point to pick up his water bottle I still have here. So
don't worry.
We'll see if he shows up or not.
I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. I wrote both segments I thought of today down.
My man, love it.
So we wouldn't forget it. But for today's, this is just a little plugging of our podcast. And this is just because this week, realistically, whoever wins the election, I feel like it's going to be kind of a shit show. Just the whole week and everything. There's going to be a lot of. There's going to be a lot of.
It's going to be awful no matter who wins.
I mean, 2020 has already been a crap show. So the thing we're thinking of, and we're just talking about this beforehand, is try to get some type of positivity on your timeline here and there. And if you also haven't, last couple of YouTube videos, you would hear Jeff saying, "Can you send a GIF of what Brian did?" You're going to see those this week. I can guarantee you. I'm off the next couple of days from work, so I need something to keep myself occupied.
He's going to be working real hard, folks. We got a good special treat coming in.
Yeah,
but which is awesome. But that is of course the main theme for this week. It's going to be a long week. It's going to be pretty dreadful for a lot of people. So
just a slight smile of a GIF of Brian in the middle of your timeline, but give me the biggest smile ever.
Honestly. I'm just
because there's
we just need to grab like a screenshot of him or some sort of funny GIF with him with the ring pop.
Yeah, you can have a whole slideshow of Brian with that ring pop from our last podcast. Oh, that was great. I was laughing, rewatching and editing those videos for a YouTube page.
It's just
and that conversation we had on candy corn. Believe it or not, I was looking at the candy aisle. There's a lot of
T-Wax.
I don't want to talk about it. I guess you can go by the reactions.
I rattled him. He's so rattled. You can tell, guys.
Yeah, who won that? Yeah,
the way he's talking, the way he's just his body language. He's rattled. We got him. Yeah, there's no Brian to defend him either. Got him right where I want him.
But believe it or not, we got more than 5 votes. Thankfully, Brian did that on his own profile. So we got at least 70 to 80
votes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe, again, Team Wax came out on top at 56%.
Yeah, something like that. It was it was very close, but it went to Team Wax. So congratulations, Team Wax. And the only reason why I bring this up is I got the greatest email this week. It was not a spam email. It was not a sale, like a 25% off, get this jersey promo kind of thing. For like Black Friday or whatever, Black Friday month, which are a lot of.
Where are you going with
from our good friend Tommy Fitzgerald.
What? No way.
There is a comment. There is a comment on that video that says, and it's hilarious because he's responding to Brian. And I don't know if you guys ever talked about this on your group chat or whatever, if you ever brought this candy corn debate up. He says, I do have taste buds.
Oh, that's awesome. My man, I love it. I love it. He goes, how dare you? Oh, that's fantastic.
How dare you?
Because
can you read the whole
in our group chat, Tommy even posted, I think it was on Halloween night, he texted us a picture in our group chat, like 3 small bags of candy corn, saying, I can't wait to eat these. And then Brian texted, you don't have taste buds. So I think that's where that
comment came. 4 days ago, there's a comment on the video saying, I do have taste buds. How dare you? ! And the steaming, angry emoji in the middle of it. Oh, it made me so happy because every once in a while I'll just check the email account just because, and that really made me smile because I saw Tommy posted or a comment, and that's not in every video, every occurrence. He did it on our chip debate video. He did another comment on there saying he went a little more in detail of why he went with corn over potato on the chip debate. But that really made me smile when I saw Tommy's comment on that. And I had to
was like, I'm trying to think of like, where are you going with this?
Where I was going with this. And I was very hesitant when you were looking at that video, because I told you at the end of that video, I gave you the results of the poll that Babs had. And there's a little ticker at the end of it that says, we don't get it either.
No, literally, I didn't even think to look down at the comments.
I was about to tell you to look down at the comments, but it's like, no, I want to save that for the podcast. And that was just one of those moments. Like, that just made me happy.
I love it. Way to go, Fitz. I love it.
Again, that's just one of those things. It just shows just our friendship, especially those guys, you guys,
it's so
and all
great.
that.
I love it.
Yeah. If you haven't already, if this is your first time hearing us, just go check out those videos, our YouTube page, Underachievers Podcast. It's on there. WQ Podcast, Instagram and Twitter. Follow those pages if you want to get more up to date and just watch those videos, see our highlights. Our highlights from each podcast come up on there. Just that's all I'm going to say for a podcast. Let's get into the podcast itself and just kind of get into our usual. I actually think I cut you off and you're about to say something.
No, you're good. I was going to say, like we were saying a little bit earlier, just want to, reinforce it. We want to try to bring up as much positivity this week as possible. It's going to be a long week for everyone.
We're positive people here.
So we're positive people. So we're going so we're going to do what we can to, make you smile, make you laugh, just, bring joy to your lives and everything. And
I hope we do.
Yeah, no, I'm sure we do. And, hey, quick shout out to the guy in Russia. This one's for you, buddy.
I have to say, we are growing worldwide. There's a Japan. There's Germany.
Okay.
There's some Russia. There's 2 Russian, I think.
2 Russians. Oh, sorry, not just the 1 Russian. 2. Both of you Russians.
I think there was someone from France too. I don't know. There's been some weird, interesting, weird. I'm sorry. I want to rephrase that. Interesting places where I've seen us get downloaded.
That's better. Don't disrespect our viewers.
No, I don't want to do that. Yeah,
we respect you guys. We love you guys. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for listening.
But no, we do want to reinforce some positivity and everything. It's going to be a long
because
weekend. We're going to post
the reason why I want to show
GIFs and everything. And
that's why I want to do more of those GIFs and more just stories. Because, like Jeff said, in many podcasts, and because this is an audio thing, obviously it's a podcast, and we don't always do full video of our podcast. If it's short enough where it's like under an hour, I make the debate. I was like, do I put the whole thing out or not? And some weeks I do, some weeks I don't. It's just depending on my feel. Last week I didn't just because it went an hour and 7 minutes, so it felt maybe a little longer. And and I just try to make it a little different each week. Sometimes 2 videos, sometimes 3. Either way, you're guaranteed at least 2 videos a week from us. So
yeah. But and one thing I definitely want to start doing though is, if you guys have some stories you want to share with us and everything like that, you can always send us emails or anything, and we can certainly pick out our favorite one.
I do have a funny story, and I kind of want to say this now, just because I should have remembered this last week. It only makes sense for Halloween. Unfortunately, Halloween has passed. It's November 3rd. Today's November 3rd, and if you're familiar with Mischief Night, I know it's a thing popular in our area in Chester County and that in this Philadelphia area. I know it's not a well-known thing across the country, around the world, or whatever. Not our country, because we do have, as we just said, some globally downloaded podcast episodes that not everyone's Halloween or whatever. Or Mischief Night. But there was one Mischief Night. I wasn't here for it, but it was when I was in Bloom, and I got a text or a picture from my mom, because one of the typical things you see, I know not lately, but it's either egging someone's house, TPing, doing something like that, and that's just kind of what Mischief Night is. It's just kind of being a dick.
Yeah.
Just kind of being a dick for a night.
It's true, just full of pranks, full of stupid stuff like that.
So my sister and my brother Mitch. So this is really going back, because this is when my sister was still living at home, not because she's living out in Pittsburgh now, and before that she was out in Maryland.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but they wanted to do a little Mischief Night. They wanted to do a little TPing. They didn't do anyone else's house. They did our own house and TP'd one of our trees in the front yard. And in the middle of doing this, it's like pitch black out too while they're doing this. A car is coming by the house, and
Please tell me it's a cop.
It's not a cop, but they both dive on the ground because the car's coming. Even though they're TPing their own house.
I mean, I get their logic. The person driving by, they might not realize it's their own. Well, first of all, who TPs their own house? But second of all,
it's not really their own house. They TP the tree. They TP
right,
the
tree. But you get the point. Like, who TPs their own yard and house, whatever. But regardless, so if they're doing this, if someone's driving by, they don't want to be seen, because it's like, hey, like, why are you TPing that person's property? It's like, funny story. It's our own property. We're just having fun. It's like, well, then you're stupid. But regardless, though, I get their logic. Just dive out of the way. Don't get caught.
And I get your logic too, depending on where you are. Luckily, our neighborhood, we're really friendly with everyone. People know who we are. So if someone saw that happen, like, there's Melissa Mitchell doing something dumb, while their mom is standing at the porch watching it happen.
Your mom was watching it happen the entire time.
Oh, she knew it was happening. For some reason, they just both wanted to just do it. For some reason, they wanted to TP a house, so they didn't want to actually be rude and actually TP someone's house.
That's so great.
And they didn't want to do the house itself; just do the tree.
That's really funny. That's different.
It's different. It's funny. And it's more maybe one of those things, not as funny or told again, but it's one of those things in the moment. It was just really fun. Even though I wasn't there, like I've been told many times from my mom and Mitch, just that time, just them just panicking. They just panicked and jumped to the ground because they thought, even though it was pitch black out and they could have just stood still and maybe they still wanted to see them, jump to the ground because on the ground is maybe they won't see them versus standing up. Although they would probably also see an object just boom, it just went down. Like, what was that? Was that a deer? What was that?
That's great. Oh my gosh.
Just a little funny story. Just thought of.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good.
Only because at work, someone was talking about Mischief Night with someone. It just had me thinking about that moment. One of those stories I should have said in our little Halloween.
It's all good. No, but I'm glad you brought up. That's funny.
But now back to our actual updates. Jeff, as you remember, went down to see Danny's for Halloween. So Jeffrey,
it was fun.
So
Good
that
time.
means you were not actually in Narnia this weekend.
I
You
was not.
left
No, it was
Narnia
Adventures in
Land.
DC. No, it
Oh,
was actually a really fun weekend. I got to leave early Friday afternoon, which is nice from work. So I know I'm underachieving there. What do you
actually, no.
expect?
I was trying to fight myself on making a Lord of the Rings joke.
Oh, oh no.
I was gonna make the Office. I was gonna say, did he find any rings or anything down in DC? Just ignore me. It's been a long week.
Moving right along. But no,
Ignoring
so I got
that.
down. But no, so the whole weekend it was just honestly a very much needed low key weekend. Danny and I, most of the weekend we just Friday and Sunday we just chilled. We played a lot of board games, Mario Kart on Nintendo Switch. Dude, she's been getting so competitive with Mario Kart. Like
I can
it's
see
like
it.
no, it's so funny. 'Cause before she wasn't like that big into it, but now it's just like we play like
I
an
get it.
hour and a half, 2 hours almost of Mario Kart throughout the day. And just because again, she's like, "Oh, can we keep playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." No, I love it. It's just so funny though. Between
That's
that, Super Smash Bros.
why
On
do
the
you think
Switch,
we
and
got so into board games? It's because we got
yeah,
so competitive at them.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. So that was good.
I will
And
admit,
then
alcohol does help it.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
It
Oh,
helps it.
I got a great story. So Saturday, that was the night of the weekend. This is why I wish Brian was on because
Halloween
yeah,
itself. Yeah.
it was Halloween. Yeah, but so for Halloween, what we did, we had our two friends over, and we had all our drinks, and our one buddy he brought his little puppy over, and the dog she was
I
really cute.
remember. I remember you saying that there's the
Yeah.
dog and everything. I do remember that.
Um, but no, so she was so cute, and we were playing with the puppy and everything, playing board games and stuff. So all the games we played, we played Super Smash Bros. On Switch, same thing with Mario Kart. But not only did we just play Mario Kart, we played Mario Kart.
I get it.
So that was a lot of fun. But I know not everyone there liked beer, so we did like just our mixed drinks.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine too. It's the same
yeah, so
thing. It's
it was
like
still fun.
when you're playing a drinking game. Realistically, if you're playing flip cup or something, you would rather have beer or whatever because that's just gonna go down better. You can handle. You more than likely would be able to handle it better. But if worse comes to worse, that's why the one night, and I said this in my worst bad moments
Mm.
video or thing, which both Jeff and Brian, who is not here, were also at. That was my mistake. I did the little mixed drinking. Also, I didn't eat enough beforehand. Um,
Yeah,
so plus
live and let live.
plus drinking games equals
Fun
destroying
time.
Abby's bathroom
Oh yeah, I mean that's it.
with vomit. I have to clarify that. I don't want people thinking it was the opposite of that.
No, I mean, hey, but to be fair, if people have seen those videos and before and watch a podcast, they would already know the story. But for new listeners, that's what he meant.
Mhm.
But no, so we had it was either mixed drinks. If anything, it was it was actually like those spiked Arnold Palmers.
Oh yeah. You've talked about
Yeah,
those before.
so
Yeah,
so so like it was one of those cans, and I said, I'm like, all right, guys, just the four of us, and because some of them they're not like big
did he
drinkers,
chug
like
it?
well, no, you don't chug it, but like I didn't chug. I mean, you can if you want, but I didn't chug it.
So
You can if you want. Brian would have shotgunned it, but you know, but
that's another funny story. I want
oh
to
yeah,
I want Brian here for that one too.
yeah. Anywho, so
Well, the adventures of
but
Abby's
for
bathroom. She's never gonna want us to be in the bathroom again.
oh, good. That'll be real good the next time he's on the podcast to tell him that. But so we had the Arnold Palmers and everything, and again, for those who don't know Mario Kart or anything like that,
Yeah.
basically the object of the race is to not only come in first, but just like in real
Oh,
life, you can't drink and drive, so your car has to be completely stopped and during the race, and you drink as much as you can, and then put your drink down and keep racing. The goal is you have to finish your drink completely by the time you finish the race. If not, for the next race, if you choose to do another one, there's some sort of punishment. Who knows? But it depends on how many races you do and everything like that. We just did the one, but
got it. You went a lot more. You went a lot more deep into that than we would probably would have done because we were just
yeah,
I don't think we would have stopped and like we just want to keep drinking and driving. I would be the
but again, so
yeah.
technically, from what I've always played, the rules are for my rules is you have to be completely stopped in order to drink. If you,
which makes sense. Which realistically, that makes sense if you're finishing it by the time the race is over. And Mario Kart, you can do like 3, 5, maybe 7 laps. I forget how many laps and Tony can do, but I know you can. And like, as if you're doing like a 3-lap race, that's fairly quick.
On average, it's 3 to 4 laps. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, that's a fairly quick race. So realistically, stopping and drinking is probably the best kind of option to be able to get through.
There
that.
are definitely
unless you're just going to stop at one point, chug it, and then move along.
I was going to say that's one of the other strategies. Literally, chug it right from the start and then just drive.
Yeah.
But you said no, that was fun. We played all sorts of games. We played Piccolo. That's a great drinking game.
Yeah, it is.
I had the free version and not the party version. Thank God, because
why would you ever get the party version of that? Why would you ever get the free version? Is just as fine.
Dude, literally, I played the party version one time before. It's chaos compared to the free version. Like, it gets real quick. It goes from 0 to 100.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, Piccolo itself is pretty.
Played it though.
Piccolo itself can be that way, but once you get
like the free version has some interesting things, but then the party version, oh my God.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it does. But I think you can kind of put just whatever you think it is.
Use your imagination.
More than likely, use your imagination. Did you like my GIF I sent to you when he said use your imagination over the weekend?
Love it.
It was SpongeBob saying imagination with the rainbow.
Anyway, so the highlight of the night though, we had so Danny found these Christmas is slowly but surely coming up.
Yes,
Thanksgiving's
we did talk about this.
People.
I think we briefly talked about this last podcast too, of you making the gingerbread houses or whatever.
Yes.
You made.
So we Danny and I, it was us two against our 2 friends who were dating, a couple versus couple, gingerbread house making, like little kits and everything, for a haunted house kit though. So we thought it'd be fun, but at one point we were playing Kings, and so I, and like in the middle of the game, I was sitting there. I'm like, guys, I just realized something. I think we should stop. So the moment we stop playing Kings, we should stop drinking for a little bit if we want to finish or even start the gingerbread houses. And everyone's like, oh yeah,
I forgot about
that's
doing
a good
that.
point. And so literally, we're just like looking around, like this could be a disaster. So,
would that also at the same time make it a little more fun too? Just to see what you can make when you're drunk. This is what I made. I am very proud of myself. I made what looks to be maybe a house while I was drunk.
So that's the goal. The goal is to obviously, decorate with everything and
you're supposed to make it like what the box looks like, but sometimes it doesn't end up like that.
We gave ourselves 15 minutes. We figured out that that'll be enough time to make the haunted house, right? So
I guess
already,
I've never finished I've never finished a house in 15 minutes, but sure, yeah.
we figured with something like this,
like
make a little competition. It'll be fun. 15 minutes, maybe 20. That'd be fine. 3 minutes in, none of us can get the icing to actually just get out of the tube. So we stopped the timer. Like, all right, this is already taking too long. We can't even get any icing out. So we're like, no timer. We figure out the icing issue. Just here's the snap I took. Which one do you think won?
I'll say, because people probably ate it, the one that's not standing. Oh, did he bring it home with you? Is this another thing similar to Danny's pillow that you took and didn't bring back? That's another. That's another question.
There's a slight chance. I'm not confirming it, yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my lawyer said I cannot confirm or deny these allegations against me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
for
going
the
to
next
sit
couple
here
minutes,
and do
for the next
nothing.
couple minutes, we're just gonna have you blacked out and indulge your voice, so we make sure we know for sure it's not you. Okay, does that make
Correct.
sense? Yeah, got it.
So,
Mhm.
just make this easier. All right, there you go. Perfect. We're good.
Perfect.
All right, I'm back. What happened? How's the podcast going?
It's going, Dave. I was going back to your costume you wore a couple years back.
For a split second, I was like, huh? I was like, oh, right. See, someone got my costume. Jerks. Anyway, but no, it's funny that you mentioned it. So, as you can tell, one of the houses was not standing or complete.
Really?
So literally, our one buddy, he's an engineer. So literally, in like 2 minutes, with all the icing and everything, the house is standing up, and like a couple minutes later, it's already decorated. So Dan and I were just like, let's just take your time, see if we can put this together. We kept trying to put all the icing on. It collapsed completely. So then Danny turns around for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, well, since we're done with this, I grab the roof and I just take a huge bite out of it. And she's like, you're just giving up? I'm like, I thought we said we were done. She's like, we are now, I guess. So.
You did it again?
Yeah, the second time. Keyword again.
Again. This wasn't actually a video, so if you want to listen to that story, that's near the end of our last podcast. But Jeff did this again where Danny left the room, and again, he ate the same part of the house. And what was your excuse? What happened in that one again? Refresh everyone's memories, Jeffrey. He left.
I'm not here right now.
Okay, but you can still talk, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I can mute myself, but that won't be any fun.
Yeah, what fun would that be? I'd be talking to myself.
Brian would love that if he was here, but
yeah.
So. Anyway, but what was the question again? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just making fun of you for doing it for a second time. Where literally Danny leaves the room for a second, and you go for the roof.
I don't know why. It's fun. It's fun to eat it from the top, and I don't know. But
oh no, I get it.
So,
I haven't done like I said, even in the last podcast when we were talking about it, I haven't done like a gingerbread, graham cracker, whatever they're made out of house.
Well, I'll put it this way: the rule of thumb: don't make one with me because I'll eat the roof. Even when it's not complete.
I mean, that's not even that weird because people are eating the candy anyways. That
I'm saying it's not weird, but it's just like it kind of ruins it a bit. Where like we're still trying to build this thing, and after a certain point, I'm like, well, clearly, I recognize when we're done building because it's not working. So I'm like, well, there's no point wasting any time or more effort. Let's just start eating.
A real Andy Bernard method mindset there. Jeff has. He quit because the game was unfair.
Yes.
Drink. Yes, the games go every podcast. We don't have to mention it. The game.
There's no break. There's no break from the game.
When you listen to the podcast, you have a drink next to you, hopefully responsibly, obviously.
Please drink responsibly.
Obviously. And you just, whenever you make a reference, you just, make a drink. If you made a bingo board, that's also acceptable. But you also have to take a drink every time we say something that we say every time. Whether
I don't think you would win a prize yet. We haven't discussed those details yet, so I don't think there's any prizes out there.
No, you may get a turkey hand. When you were a kid, you made those turkeys with your hand. You may get a
you might get a high five from Brian
through Zoom.
There's
kind of a pandemic going on, Jeffrey.
Well, you didn't let me finish.
Sorry, I did cut you off there. Yeah.
Welcome back, jerky jerk face. Drink.
Yep. 9 times out of 10, it will be an Office reference too.
Yeah.
This is also reference to people who are listening to us for the first time.
Yes. Good luck.
Yes.
Anywho, but so all in all, though, So no, all in all, though, it was honestly such a great weekend. It was very low key, really chill.
Yeah, I was
Danny
gonna
tried
say
to
it
get
seems
me to
like
watch Rocky Horror Picture Movie, or
a
hold on,
picture show.
yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, my dad talks about that all the time.
Yeah, that I don't even I literally I think I got surprisingly halfway throughout the movie. I don't get it. I just
I get it. Yeah. I don't. I mean, I get your reaction
right
to it
right
because I
right.
feel the
Yeah,
same way. I'm not saying I
yeah.
don't. I get the movie.
No,
I
I
have the
knew
same little reaction that you had to it.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Like we said
But
last time, I ruined horror films for people who listen to this podcast.
like, what's the point of this? Like, they're
Yes,
literally
yes, yes, yes. I
there's no
did the
point.
high notes of horror
Yeah.
films.
Um, but no. So Danny's just like, you're probably gonna find this really weird. Can we try watching it? I'm like, sure.
Whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll try. I don't know. She's like, it has great music. You might not get it, but that's okay. Can you just try it anyway? I'm like, yeah, sure,
Whatever.
whatever.
Yeah.
Literally, like 15 minutes in, just like, so what's the point of this? This doesn't make any sense. Like, what? And I'm like, this is already so strange. And I somehow made it like I think halfway there at the movie. I was like, honestly, can we just do something else? Like, I'm sorry, I tried, but
Yeah.
I just can't with this anymore. I don't know what this is, but I just can't.
I get that. Uh, but yeah, I was just about to say too. It feels like a little bit because I guess the last time you saw Danny must have been, even if it was a little bit, was when he went down to the lake with
Yeah,
Brian and them. Because with you now being adulting and working, you don't really have the luxury to take or be there for like a week
yeah,
or so. So
kind of sucks,
so
but
it helps, especially the year we're living into.
yeah,
Able to be having those like relaxation kind of times.
yeah. But the good news is I'm no longer working, weekends anymore at my old job.
That's
So
true.
I can honestly go whatever weekend I want now. So that's a
It's
plus.
true. That is a plus. But
Good job.
anyways, that was Jeff's away from Narnia, but updates, news, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call that segment when you're in DC, but news not from Narnia.
Come up with a good name from that because pretty soon there could be a chance that I might be living in DC.
Oh, look at Jeffrey.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to my or not
The
to
Whitmer's updates. Let's get
yes.
to them now.
So, if you haven't already could tell from this podcast, I'm going crazy. It's 2020. If you
Literally,
haven't,
this is like the most energy I've seen Whitmer have in
yeah.
quite some time. So I'm a
You know what
little
I
scared.
also thought of today,
Oh
which is
God.
I don't know why I thought about this, but it makes sense. Like, if there's anyone you would have said like in high school that said he has a podcast, everyone would say he has a podcast, and I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
He talks into a mic? What?
Yeah, all right.
But anyways, like I just said, a little. So I've worked the last 8 of the 9 days. The last day I had off was Thursday, so pretty much just worked a work week. Last 5 days in a row. And then just last week I was off Thursday and Sunday. So yeah, I've been working a lot and just been trying to find times to fill the void here and there. Little writing here and there. Jeff knows this. We've did a little writing here and there. Also, just this podcast itself. But since it was Halloween and I didn't, because I was working obviously, and because the year it's been and everything, wasn't really able to do or didn't really have any parties. Didn't even have like Brian was going to Halloween parties, not even Jeff, where I was just going out to just hang out for Halloween or whatever. Didn't do that either. Just kind of, I don't know, still 'tis the season. Because back when my parents and Mitch went to Pittsburgh to see my sister and her husband, they went to a distillery, and there was a couple like whiskeys and stuff that they liked from that place. And apparently, I guess it was at Victory or somewhere close that they were selling the stuff that was there that they wanted. And the one thing was a pumpkin whiskey, so a pumpkin whiskey, a maple spirits. So That's what I had. I had to make. And the other thing wasn't Halloweeny, but I think it's supposed to be like a kind of like Malibu. It's just a rum. So, and 'tis the season as I drank the maple. I had just a little rum and coke, just with a little bit of the maple spirit, just because it's fall and it's Halloween season. So, and I kept up with my tradition, like you, Jeff, because you had that snap of you saying it wouldn't be Halloween without the tradition of watching the Smash Bros. Halloween special.
Yeah.
That was the opposite, not opposite, but similar. But mine was the South Park episode, Hell on Earth 2006, where Satan's having his super sweet 16 party. And I sent you we quote this scene all the time. Outside of The Office, it's probably one of the things we probably quote the most, just out of nowhere, is Diddy didn't do it. Did he do it?
Diddy did it.
I don't want to do it if Diddy did it. But I was watching that, and 'tis in the season. Believe it or not, we did have trick-or-treating going on here. So, all that was happened was everyone set out tables outside. And my dad just put in like little Ziploc bags, little handfuls of candy, just so people can just pick up the bags. So they didn't have to do any picking up or anything. But yeah, I just really like that episode. I just had to watch it. That's Halloween. It made sense.
It is Halloween. It made sense.
It made sense. It's funny. It's also really, at points, it's like really, it gets a little, not bad, because if you don't remember, around that time, shortly before Steve Irwin died, and they make the Steve Irwin joke, and it's Steve Irwin with the stingray in his chest or whatever. And the joke is that because it was shortly before Halloween, that people were probably going to dress up as Steve Irwin. And even Satan's like, yeah, dude, too soon. And then he kicks him out because he's not wearing a costume.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
No, what else I'm done my updates. That's all I really did over the last week. This is just a random tangent, but I finally got to watching that South Park pandemic special that they did.
Oh my God,
a month ago, and it was.
I haven't seen it yet. How awful is it?
It's like for South Park, it's South Park. But if you've never,
is it as bad as it gets?
Yeah. But that's not saying it's bad. Like it's a bad. There's moments where it's like, but overall, it's really, really funny and everything. It's essentially just 2020. It's what people are doing. Cartman and it's myself is what makes the episode itself, because he essentially, I feel like he would be me if I was a kid still in elementary school and dealing with the pandemic and going to school virtually. And I'm not going to give anything away, but that's just one little, there's a little, this episode starts with him just taking roll, and it breaks and everything. It's just really, again, I don't want to give anything away. I'm not really selling it that well either, but it's really funny. It kind of hits all the high notes of how kind of shitty this year's been.
Mm-hmm.
It deals with like the police brutality stuff. It deals with COVID, obviously, and the election a little bit. And just, I think the real theme of it was realistically, I guess it's also random attention / unofficial critique. Two segments in one for the price of one.
Ooh.
We're a free podcast, so you're getting it for free.
Pay up.
But I think the thing of it is just like, you want, like, you're in this for so long, you just want to get back to some type of normalcy.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, because you're thrown, and it makes sense, and I get, and it like makes sense, and when you think about it in life, it's like, there's so much. The 2020 has been such a weird, shitty kind of year, and it's just like you want to go back to some sort of normalcy, whatever that is. And I think Stan in the episode kind of is a lot of people right now, just dealing with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And that's just where I'm going to leave off with that. So if you ever want to watch it, yeah, it's an hour long, but I think it's worth it. It's funny. It's got its moments. It's crude. That's what I'll say. It's crude at times.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was funny. There's something else I was going to say. I had another story. Damn it. Damn.
Wham bam, thank you, man. Drink.
Oh yeah, I guess you saw the Eagles didn't really do anything for the trade deadline.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even realize that was today until I saw like 2 hours ago. I was like, oh,
Yep,
trade deadline.
It's trade
Cool.
deadline. Didn't really do
Who
anything.
Who cares? But cool.
Yeah. I mean, the division sucks, and apparently there have been talks of pushing its playoffs back to 16 teams.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It is stupid. Especially when you see the NFC East. So that's another thing.
None of these teams deserve a playoff spot in the NFC East.
No. It's one of those things, and I've thought about this a lot, and maybe it should be, and maybe it's a little mean, I get it's the rules, but if a team that wins the division is so terrible and so far under 500, I know the NHL was only because they expanded the playoffs to 24 teams, that teams under 500 made it to the playoffs. And I know it's happened in the NFL here and there. I know the Seahawks did it like years ago, the one when they upset the Saints in Seattle. And those are always fun games when you see like the underdog or whatever do that. But if your team is so far under 500 where you're only winning like 6 games or less, and that's what you wins your division, you should be forced to concede your playoff spot, and the highest team and the wild card gets the 4th spot in the playoffs, and they host the home game. And then everyone else bumps up one. I think that's fair, because realistically, the NFC East, none of those teams should host a playoff game. And I don't think any of these fan bases would disagree. And Jeff is a diehard Eagles fan, so if he believes it, that you kind of know. Also, this too, just sticking with sports before we kind of get off here. Alec Boehm was a finalist for Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he's actually going to get it because he didn't play the whole year.
Who
I think
cares?
they're going to get that.
Rookie of the Year. That's our Rookie of the Year. Let's go, Bomber.
It's well deserved too. He played
it up.
Great.
He's so freaking good. People don't understand. Like he's gonna be something special. Like, here's how confident the Phillies are already. They didn't re-sign Didi Gregorius, which I think is ridiculous, but that shows that they want Alec Boehm as their third baseman.
Not that it really mattered because Didi was short.
I know, but it was causing that extra spot between Gene Segura and Scott Kingery.
Yeah.
So,
and I still don't think Scott Kingery should play center field.
No.
I think that's just overextending him a bit. I know you want his bat, even though he didn't play great this past year. But you want him because he's good.
People were giving him. The guy was hurt. Give him a break.
Yeah, plus the year itself. It was a fast year. It's a year everyone's going to put an asterisk on anyway. So that's another shitty thing that's happened. Is there anything more MLB in 2020 than someone on the World Series champ that celebrated and was positive for COVID?
Yeah. So real quick, this is the last thing I want to say. Justin Turner. I again, another reason why I hate the Dodgers. I hate the fact that they won. Good for Clayton Kershaw, and I guess
that's the only
Mickey
thing
Betts.
I cared about.
They're the only 2 people who I respect and like on that team. Justin Turner, you freaking pirate.
Boston's
why are
really
you
dumb
out
for
there
letting him go?
Celebrating your team when you find out just somehow mid-game that you have tested for positive coronavirus? Why are you out there?
At that point, the damage is already done. He's already been playing. He's already been in a dugout, so he's already been in close contact.
That's a good point, but it's like even if you think you're sick or whatever, why are you out there? You're putting all these your teammates and players and the coaches and management all at risk. They're all getting ready to go back home.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I get it that you want to celebrate with your team because it's your first ever. It was his first time ever winning, and I get you want to be there.
That I get is a huge deal, but you're putting so many people at risk for your own
including
stupidity.
Your manager who went through cancer.
Thank you. So
And
literally,
also this too, which I didn't
zero
realize until
respect
afterwards. He
for
was
this
one of the
guy.
people that helped come up with the preventions and everything that went into make that everyone had to
I
follow
have zero
all the
respect for Justin
guidelines.
Turner.
Yeah.
Like his own stupidity, it's so ridiculous. It's like, how can you think that little of your teammates and everything? Like, I don't get it. It pisses
I
me
don't get
off.
it either.
I honestly can't believe that MLB let that slide, and it's so embarrassing. Rob Manfred, he should get the can, get us out of the league, and Justin Turner, you should be embarrassed by yourself. I know a lot of people are just for you, and you're such a joke. I don't care that you won your first ever World Series. You're putting so many people at risk
You really are.
for their own health because you want to celebrate with teammates. I get it. It's a big moment for you. Congrats, whatever. But when it comes down to your teammates' health, especially your manager, who, like Mike just said, went through
and not
cancer,
just that,
that's ridiculous.
Outside
that's
of your team, you had people who worked at the stadium. You had those people, grounds crew, all that he was probably close to at some points. So
it's absolutely
umpires.
ridiculous.
There was
I'm I have zero respect for Justin Turner. I think he's a solid player, yeah, but I literally have zero respect more than I already did for him. It's pathetic. He's such a joke, and he shouldn't be applauded for celebrating the fact of being able to celebrate with his teammates.
I don't want to end this podcast on a downer, Jeff.
I know, because we were trying to talk about.
No, I had a question. I had a question for you.
Go for it.
What GIF or video? Because I forgot. I forgot the one where Babs gets the math wrong. What should be the first thing that comes out? What
are our options?
So there's the one where he's clapping his hands with the that's gonna be one too. With the ring pop in his hands. There's one where he's dancing with the ring pop in his hands. There's one where he randomly, when you're telling your worst Halloween story, where he randomly sticks his tongue out because he wants to see if it's green. And there's also the one I just mentioned of the podcast beforehand where he gets the math wrong and says more than 15 dummy, or more than 15 years ago dummy, or 14.
We just start cracking up. Let's do one with the ring pop. I'll let you pick. Your editor's choice.
Okay. And obviously, as we do these, we all have those. All three of us have those moments. So whenever we get those, it's going to be a GIF of some sort. So look out for that, and also look out for our next hockey podcast because that's going to come out sometime, probably later this week. And until then, we'll see you next time.